Today we're talking about living in one of the best communities here in South Florida if you're a boater, and that is Lighthouse Point. Probably wondering, what in the world is Lighthouse Point, Joe? So Lighthouse Point is actually one of the most highly sought after areas here in South Florida for both boaters and fishermen and people who just want a quaint and quiet lifestyle because you're in a clutch location. So in this video, we're going to talk about everything that you need to know about living here in Lighthouse Point, Florida. So let's go ahead and check it out. Now don't worry, this isn't going to be the longest video in the world because Lighthouse Point is actually not massive. There's only about 11,000 residences, and when it comes to the location of Lighthouse Point, it is pretty much all in the water. So Lighthouse Point is right in between both Fort Lauderdale and Boca, and when we zoom in a little bit, really right in between both that of Pompano and Deerfield. And everything in Lighthouse Point is east of Federal, which is really nice. So that means most of the homes here in Lighthouse Point are actually on the water, and they do have over 18 miles of deep water canal. So you can have a small boat, like a little deck boat, you can have a larger center console, or even a Viking, maybe even a sailboat. Now, when it comes to the boating and fishing that people do go and do, you are right here near the Hillsborough Inlet, so you can head out to the ocean, go fishing, hang out, you can tie off, you can anchor out. But what a lot of people actually end up doing is going to the Hillsborough Inlet and they just anchor out there, hang out right there in the bay, or there's actually a beach right there near the lighthouse that people go and enjoy. Or what a lot of people actually do end up doing is heading up north along the intercoastal and going to Lake Boca. Now, Lake Boca is a ton of fun. You'll see a ton of people out there because it does get a little bit shallower. And then especially in the weekends or during Boca Bash, that's when it's absolutely wild. However, you could head further south as well, head down to Fort Lauderdale and just explore, or you can head further north up to Peanut Island as well. Now, when it comes to things to do here in Lighthouse Point, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's not much because it is a small town and it really is a boating and a fishing community. However, Lighthouse Point is a very tight-knit community at the same time, so a lot of the neighbors do know each other because it is a little bit smaller. However, when there's things to do, I mean, really the main things to do here in Lighthouse Point are you go on the boat, you go fishing, you hang out in your backyard and go to the pool. Now, granted, there are a lot of things right nearby. So when it comes to shopping, dining, and entertainment, I will say it is a little bit quieter. However, you do have normal shopping centers like you see behind me here, where we have a Publix, the Fish Shack, which you definitely have to go check out, Papa's Raw Bar, where you have to go and check out, Naughty Dog Cafe, there's Sicilian Oven behind me, Offer Dolls, which is kind of underrated and really no one talks about. We also have the Holy Trinity of Chicken, a Chick-fil-A, a PDQ, and a new Raising Cane's across the street as well. On top of that, there's a movie theater right there. Now, technically the movie theater I think is in Pompano because we're right on the border. However, I will say what a lot of people do for entertainment, shopping, dining is go to the neighboring cities as well, because most of Lighthouse Point is residential. However, there is some stuff like you've seen, but most people do go to like Pompano, Deerfield, they go to Boca for that more upscale stuff. So like downtown Boca, Meisner Park, even go to maybe even Fort Lauderdale. Now, when it comes to the nightlife aspect of things, I will say, yeah, there's not really anything going on here in Lighthouse Point for nightlife. Most people do go to Deerfield and Pompano, especially if you're looking for like a local bar or a brewery. So you can go to like 26 Degree Brewing right off Atlantic. It's about 10 minutes away. You can hop on the boat and head north to the Cove. So what most people do, they'll head north on the water on like the intercoastal, get off at the Cove, dock right there. Then they'll hang out with the boys, grab a couple cold ones, and then head home. They're obviously not drinking that much because they're still driving, but it's something to do and it's a great place to go and check out the game. Now, if you're looking for like your true nightlife, downtown Fort Lauderdale is still not too far away. You're about 20 to 25 minutes. You could always hop on the Bright Line at Meisner and take it up north to West Palm, or you could just drive down to Miami. But for the most part, really, people who live here aren't really going for that nightlife every single night, but you're close enough to still enjoy it. Now, when it comes to parks in Lighthouse Point, there are a couple like that of Dan Witt and DeGriff Park, which are your normal traditional parks with like the playground, basketball, tennis, all those things. But when it comes to my personal favorite, I like Exchange Club Park, especially if you like that boating lifestyle. You'll see a ton of people constantly out just hanging out in the water, anchored out right here, enjoying kind of like what is like a mini beach. It's not truly a beach, especially on the weekends. It does get pretty packed, and when you go up and down the water on the intercoastal, you'll see a ton of people hanging out here. There used to be a rope swing, however, it's been taken away because people were just idiots with it. However, it's still kind of just a nice place to hang out, chill out with the boat, anchor out if you don't want to go all the way to Hillsborough Inlet. And while it's not a true beach, you still have plenty of sand that you can hang out. It's not as busy and it's nowhere near as packed. Now, when it comes to the real estate here in Lighthouse Point, I will say it is a little bit more expensive, and that's because most of the homes here are single family homes, and a good portion of those homes are on the water. So when you look at the median sales price for single family homes here in Lighthouse Point, median sales price is $1.4 million. However, I will say I don't think that's really encompassing of what you really will pay. That's just the median price, because they do go all the way up to $20 million. I will say on average, you are looking at about $2 to $2.5 million for a house here, especially if you want something on the water. However, if you don't, you could still be around that $1 million to $1.5 million range. Now, if you want same type of living, but you don't want to pay those prices, you want to be a little bit under that price point, you can look in both Deerfield and Pompano, where you will be closer to $1 million, both to be on the water. If you want to be off the water, you could be probably closer to $600,000 to $800,000. Now, if you don't like either one of those and you just want to go extravagant, you can go up to Boca, and you're going to be paying the same house in Lighthouse Point you took and put it in Boca. You're probably looking at probably $4 or $5 million on the water very easily. So that's everything that you need to know about living here in Lighthouse Point. So let me know in the comments down below, what's your favorite thing about living here in Lighthouse Point, Florida? And if you or anyone you know are looking to buy, sell, or invest in Lighthouse Point, South Florida, or Florida in general, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can call me, email me, text me, DM me, whatever's easiest for you, we got you.